offspring, if you're really sophisticated. My grandfather was a United Methodist minister. My father was a United Methodist minister, and my uncle was a United Methodist minister. Guess what I was supposed to be? Guess what I was born and raised to be?
Methodist minister.
Yeah. But something wasn't quite wholly there for me. I really didn't know what it was. I didn't know what was missing in that whole idea of being part of church life. Being part of church life mattered to me, it was important, but it wasn't there. I felt a calling to do service, to be in service to community. I didn't really know what that was all about, how that was going to manifest itself in my life. So what did I do? I wandered through the wilderness. That's what you're supposed to do, right? When I graduated from college, I drove cross country, rode my bicycle from Canada to Mexico, back up to LA, then drove back cross country, got back to Maine, and from Maine, I got back to Maine in time for my sister's wedding, and then got back on my bicycle. Wow. And lived off it for the whole summer, exploring the coast of Maine, making blueberries for a couple of weeks, doing a part-time job. And I got a few $100s in my pocket and landed in Portland, Maine, to figure out what the heck I'm going to do with this life of mine. Began working at a residential treatment center for adolescent boys, the hardest of the hard. These are young men who are on their way to being incarcerated. This was a last stop for them. And it was heartbreaking for me and also inspiring to be part of it. But I needed something to ground myself. It happened to be down the street, lived down the street from a YMCA, and I thought, I grew up in the YMCA. In fact, as a preacher's kid, we moved every 4 or 5 years. There are 2 institutions that grounded us in community, our church, and we always joined the YMCA. I spent days playing basketball there, hanging out with other youth, and being part of community at the YMCA. So I thought, why? It must be an interesting place. I remember going there. I started lifeguarding part-time 35 years ago. Quickly into that time, I met a person who was inviting me to come help out with programs, and I asked her one day, I said, Janet, I said, what is this job you do at the YMCA? You can actually have a job at the YMCA, and it can be a thing. And she explained this position of youth and family director. It was as if a light went off. Aha, that's what I'm supposed to be. That's what I'm called to be. I'm called to be a youth and family director in the YMCA, to work with kids and families, summer camps, bring people together, have this Christian focus, emphasis, values, but also do recreation, the things I really love, that I'm passionate about and enjoy. And thus began a career that has brought me from Maine to Massachusetts to Columbus, Ohio. And I could tell you there was many places I thought I might land in my career. Never in my imagination was Houston on the radar. Not because there's anything wrong with Houston, not because there's anything wrong with Texas, but it just wasn't on my radar. I'm a coast guy, East Coast, West Coast, New England. But God has other plans for us sometimes, right? And sometimes they get revealed in ways that we don't really anticipate. Sometimes it's through pain, sometimes it's through struggle, sometimes it's through disappointment. I was supposed to be the CEO of the Boston YMCA. That was my destiny. But when that opportunity came up, it was someone else they chose. It came down between 2 of us. It's someone else they chose. Boy, that hurt. And I thought, maybe I've been on the wrong path. But then there was this problem in Columbus, Ohio. They had just fired their CEO, and they needed a healer. They needed someone with grace and with groundedness and peace in their heart to go be with that group and minister to them. Oh my gosh, wait a minute. Am I in ministry? In the YMCA, am I in ministry? So I went to Columbus, Ohio to minister to that group, to help them heal from some trauma and tragedy that they were experiencing. And after, glorious things happening, it was an amazing experience. It was just a set of circumstances that played out where, I had the conversation with my wife, and she said this to me. She said, Steve, she goes, in the next 6 months, if you get a call, I know you've only been here 3.5 years, but I'm just feeling in my heart, if you get a call, you owe it to yourself and your family to at least listen to the call. 2 weeks later, I got a call from the search committee for the Houston YMCA. And they explained that they were really anxious to find innovators, people who could out-of-the-box thinkers, people who could help lead their YMCA. And they were having conversations with a few YMCA CEOs who weren't looking for a job, who weren't applying, who weren't actively pursuing their next gig, if you will. And I said, you know what, that's a really cool process. Congratulations. I think that is brilliant. And I'd be honored to be part of that, but please understand, the chances of my wife and I moving to Houston, Texas are slim to none. I said that out loud. Careful what you say, right? I said that out loud to the chair of the search committee. Well, 3.5 years later, here I am. And, you know, what happened for my wife and I was what God's hand typically does. You know, we got into the process, and we didn't think anything was going to happen with it, and I said, no harm, no foul, what a cool process, this was really great to do. And I saw her start to have this emotional downswing, you know, when your spouse, you're like, something's not quite right. And I said, Lisa, what is going on? You're kind of moping, or what is happening? She's like, I know. She goes, I have no idea, but I'm kind of disappointed if nothing's going to happen with that Houston thing. And I said, Houston, Texas? Do you realize what you're talking about? That's a foreign country for us. Amazing. She said, you know, I know there's something else for you and for us. I know there's at least one other move. It tore me apart to have my roots ripped out of New England. Tore me apart. But I've healed. Here I am. You know, before my roots get too deep in Columbus, Ohio, maybe it would be good to have that move happen. And I'm up for an adventure. Those are the words I needed to hear. You're up for an adventure. All right. We've been together 35, 36 years, you know, together. We'll celebrate our 34th wedding anniversary this fall. Our 2 children, 29 and 28, one's in California, in LA, one's in Boston. We couldn't get any more in the middle or further away, could we? So all these things, like, they don't make sense if you think about the things that a family would want to do, but much of the time, God's guidance, His call to us, doesn't make sense in the practical manner. So here I am in Houston, Texas. We've been here a year and a half, and this thing happens. This thing that causes us to shut our doors, to have fear, concern about our very existence. No revenue, no ability to do programs that we're used to doing. And we had this wonderful crisis and opportunity to become what I believe the Y has always wanted to become, what I've always wanted to be in the Y work. And that is a true community impact institution with purpose first. You'll notice in our new branding, we're talking about not a place, a purpose. We have wonderful buildings, but it's not about the buildings, folks. It's about what happens to people when they engage with us. The buildings are tools. The people that volunteer with us are tools. The staff that are out there doing the work are witnesses, servants of Christ and God's will and His interest in our lives and in strengthening community. So we talk about strengthening community, right? That we may all be one. John 17, it is on all sorts of Y literature, that we may all be one, or they all may be one, however you interpret it. It's a really neat thing. You know, you get at the heart of it, it's about being in community, right? We're not a gym, we're a community. Okay, wait a minute. We thought we were a gym, we thought we were a membership, we thought we were programs, we thought we were fundraising. We're a community. What does this world need more than anything right now? Unity, right? Unity and community. Talk about being unified through Christ, right? Christ is a spiritual connection that we all have, those of us who are believers and who are actively working on becoming Christ-centered leaders. We can take that energy and translate it into the work that we do. That's why I think you all are here. That's what I understand. You all are here, and you don't leave it at the doorstep, do you? Sometimes you do. We're all human. Sometimes you sneak it in the back door. But there are those moments, those times with the support of others that you actually let the Spirit of God and Christ lead you in the door of your business. And let it be a living. I heard these words just this past week from a leader, the gentleman who turned around Krispy Kreme, that company. Told us the story of when he took on that challenge. He made that decision not to leave it at the doorstep, not to sneak it in the back door, but to let the Spirit of God, his belief in Christ, lead him in the door every day. And that became about being core and true to mission. So at the YMCA, mission is put Christian principles into practice through programs. Keep that food from there. Put principles into practice that strengthen spirit, mind, and body for all. Our purpose is strengthening the foundations of community, and when we're successful, there will be empowered youth, healthier families, and connected communities. Connected being the key word. We connect through our shared beliefs, values, but we also connect through a deep concern about how things turn out for other people, which is at the core. That's the definition for me of the word love. So when I came to this YMCA, I stood before my staff members and others. I said, I know some of you are going to be uncomfortable with this, but I love you. I'm going to tell you I love you, and you're just going to have to get used to it. And I'm going to invite you to, in your work in the YMCA, to lead, love, and serve. Lead, love, and serve. It's on all of our computer screens. Lead, love, and serve with compassion and mindfulness. The mindfulness is our centering, the action we take to be prayerful, to be intentional, and be really purposeful in how we show up every day. That's a choice we make, right? It doesn't happen to us. We welcome it into our world. So out of the ashes, we are rising as an organization after the last couple of years. We're figuring it out. A couple of elements to that I thought I'd like to share with you have to do with what's in my pocket today. That will, every time I remember it, will be in my pocket. This is a cross that some of us were given last week. It's a cross made out of olive wood. Guess where it's from? Gethsemane. That is true. And so this cross is a reminder. It's something to grip onto. It's something to get strength from. And the reason that we were given this, those of us who are part of this, is that 4 members of your YMCA, our YMCA, that are participating in an initiative called On Principle. Together with 8 other YMCAs across the country, we are going deep for 17, 18 months in a learning experience about what it really means to put Christian principles into practice. Those of you who are athletes, practice is just that, isn't it? It's practice. It's not a thing that happens to you. It's the thing you wake up in the morning and say, I'm going to practice this so I can get better at it. So putting Christian principles into practice is something that is going to grow and become even more intentional and powerful within our YMCA as we emerge from the ashes of the last couple of years and we sort out who we are in the world and we get purposeful about our work. It's not just the gym. It isn't a gym. It's a community. It's not a place, it's a purpose. And this is going to be at the core of that purpose. We've talked about more and more inside our organization. We're going to engage in groups and communities like this so that we can better understand that, be swallowed up, prayed for, supported by other people who understand this idea that you can let Christ be at the center of your life, choose to have Christ at the center of your life, and do good work, and be successful in business, and use all of that. I call it putting the power of business to use for social good. That's what y'all are up to, and that's what we're up to at the YMCA. We'll continue to be up to at the YMCA in the months and in the years ahead. So I hope that we'll be able to engage and partner along that journey together. I hope that you will pray over us, for us, with us, around us, as we figure that out and fulfill our true purpose in the world, but also transform as an organization and transform as leaders. My friends who are here with me, they know what I'm talking about. It has not been easy. It's been a rough couple of years. But God gives us that for a reason, right? Amen. We'll figure it out. We're beginning to see what that reason is. It's getting clearer and clearer. And there's a reason that I had the experiences I've had in my multiple YMCAs that I've been part of, because they inform the work that's ahead of me and ahead of us as we go forward. So I hope that you'll appreciate this. I'm going to explain a little bit of an innovation that's going on that is relative to this, or relates to this. So we figured out in 2020 that it's possible that we might have to operate someday without buildings, that we might not have gyms that we can run. It became very real for us. And there was this idea that had been brewing in my head and in my heart that, you know, the biggest excuse for not being a member of the Y is what? I don't know, maybe money.
No time.
Yeah. How about, I already have a gym, right? Or I don't use the gym. I hear that all the time. I'm not really big into using a gym or big into my fitness, my exercise, my wellness is elsewhere. Love what you're doing. And so we took an idea and built upon it, and we now have a different model around membership. We call it our impact membership. The idea is that you don't have to use a gym. That's not even part of it. It's about being proximate and connected with the cause and the purpose of the YMCA. And it's also about having an on-ramp and access to some of the good things, like our virtual classes, like the ability to join programs to, you know, on an a la carte basis, buy what you want or what makes sense for you, not feel like you got to go the whole bore with that. So what I'd like to share with you today is that Erica's been planting seeds, as she does so well. And I want to share with you today that we're going to, at the YMCA, provide an impact membership for all the members of this chamber, because I want you to help us sort through, you know, how that makes a difference. And from there, if people want to use the full facility, it'll be very cost effective to upgrade that membership. I want to see how that works for people. I want you to help me. And in your businesses, I hope you'll consider ways in which we might engage your employees around this whole model of membership, which is about impact. It's about making a difference, about being proximate, being connected with your community in a powerful way, and isn't just about a gym or fitness classes or group X classes or a treadmill. Those are all available as part of this, but it is really about creating unity and community. I have a vision, a dream, a hope for 1 million Houstonians as impact members someday. 1 million agents of change, 1 million people who are connected, who are unified through this idea that we all want to be one, we all desire to be one, and we can demonstrate and live that out in how we are together. And so I invite you to co-create that concept with me and help me, help us to make that a reality in our world and our community. So I know there may be some questions, and I don't know how we are on time. I told you it was dangerous to give a preacher's kid a mic.
No, you're good. You have another 10 minutes.
I got another 10 minutes. So what I'd like to do is pause and answer any questions or respond to any thoughts others of you have just about some of the ideas and concepts I brought forward, as well as the possibilities for us in a community as we collectively build this sense of unity in community.
Does anybody have any questions?
I know that you mentioned COVID took a toll on you, but you also lost some YMCAs, quite a few of them, from Hurricane Harvey as well, correct? So how many overall did you close down permanently, or if any? So I wasn't here pre-Harvey. I know there were 3 or 4 post-Harvey, after Harvey that just didn't reemerge from the flood, if you will. We had 27 facilities that were operating pre-COVID. We now have 21. One of those is a new one, though. It's a new concept that we're putting into place, which is a low-cost way to get started, all built on the impact membership model. So 6 or so that have not yet been activated, or we've sold 2. We've got 3 or 4 that we're still trying to figure out the best use of that building. One of the things that we've done, in our, I dare say, our arrogance, believe that every community wants and needs the same kind of why. That what works in Katy, is highly successful and people engaging is the right solution or the right application to other communities. And we're seeing that play out, and we're trying to really think about being diverse in how we deliver the good work of the YMCA. It's not always about big fitness center and group X classes. So that's where we stand today. Thank you. I could run the mic.
You got it.
I got it. I got the drill.
Thanks for sharing your story. What are the biggest needs of the YMCA right now, and how can we pray for you?
Healing. We've been through a lot of trauma as a staff team, and I would say as a board team. It's not easy. It's hard. It's heartbreaking
to watch staff leave our organization. The day we furloughed 2,700 people, my heart broke. And the multiple times since then that we've restructured, reorganized, done layoffs, my heart is broken. And so I would say there are a number of people on our staff team that are brokenhearted. So please pray for the healing of that, but also the inspiration to move beyond the pain and the suffering and the trauma to fulfilling our true vision and meaning and purpose of community that is awaiting us. I think the community is waiting for us to emerge that way. I think as we build out this whole effort to put Christian principles into practice and be more intentional about that, the whole point is to elevate or enhance the Christian presence of the YMCA. And that's at the core of us. You know, we operate in a way that isn't evangelical, but it kind of is, right? And that isn't a church, but it also creates community in a way, and this whole idea of being inclusive and having people of all backgrounds being under our tent, under our roof, in our community, it's a challenge sometimes. So please pray for us figuring that out as an organization, how to elevate the Christian presence and continue to be open and inclusive and engaging for all people in our community. Thank you.
Steve?
Yeah.
One of the words that you kept using is unity. And I realized going into Houston, there's so many differences. So my concern is, are you having any virtual classes to focus on rehabilitation or reconciliation? Tell us about some of the classes that you currently have so we could get involved.
So I would say that on those topics you just said, not yet. Yeah, we have virtual fitness classes. We have virtual, classes that parents can take to learn, get some training or some support in doing good work with their kids. But you just planted a seed, in terms, we've wanted and desired to use our ability to convene people for strengthening unity, building unity and community, and it's about the conversation, right? And so we've tried some of those things. We're trying to find our place, trying to find our space in that world that isn't divisive, and that is about building unity. So Martin Luther King, Sunday, we do a Sunday supper. That's one example. It's not happening all the time. It's really powerful, talking about the spirit of that work that happened and what it means for us and how we as a community elevate our game and create more unity, more sense of community in us.
When I think of brokenness, I think of fear, I think of hurt, I think of pain. Many people don't go to churches, but they go to the wine. And so you have fellowship. It's a way to connect. And then you build a buddy system and a mentoring program. So I just thought I'd say, I've been downtown, and a lot of guys go to the wine. A lot of guys are on the street. Some of them are coherent. Some of them are addicts. Some of them have pain that you and I can't talk about. Some of them are losing their minds. And the wine is the door. That's about that.
I love that. Thank you. And I often speak to groups about, what is the why? Okay, we create unity, but no, we really are. We're a front porch. We're a front porch to the kingdom. And in the kingdom there is connectedness. And in the kingdom there is healing. And in the kingdom there is unity. So when we're at our best, we are a front porch for all of that. We're a way for people to explore, to move out of their brokenness and see love showing up. So my challenge to our staff team and our volunteers is, don't just talk about love, be love. Because when we be love, then what people witness and experience together, they create that unity, right? They see the broken person sitting next to them and invite them for a cup of coffee to have a conversation. Or they invite them to be part of the Bible study or part of the group that is happening or part of the class that is happening. So, Thank you for that. You're right. Brokenness hurts, and it also opens a window for us when we see it. It opens a window for us to see the opportunities both to serve, but also to have ourselves served by being in community with other people. Absolutely. Yes.
So as you can see, you have a lot of valuable community feedback from people who are just as passionate about you. I feel like you're my long lost brother. From, just that been serving in the community 20 years and looking for opportunities to do something like this. And perhaps a round table of brainstorming with a Zoom meeting with some of your stakeholders as you go to meeting to meeting to meeting, and then inviting some of these people to a large, very well-managed, organized brainstorming session where you get all these ideas like this, like for classes on the unity and diversity, things that are going to make your program very valuable and want people to join from every background, every suicide prevention. There's a nonprofit to partner with you that I ran into last week that has free call, free first 6 sessions, something no one will talk about, but every church, every group does not have a good solution for, and it's a hard asset that is super valuable. So as many different things as you can group and provide access and assets for, and whether you're in crisis, looking for a ladies group, looking for a training and sensitivity, whatever you're looking for that's faith-based and Bible-based could be accessed through one-stop shop, through the Wives new program online, and developing that sort of an asset that no one else has a model for in this country would give you that edge, not only to get $1 million in Houston, but to bring it national.
Thank you.
The 20% of business consulting, we need a meet after.
Yes, we will spend some time. I'm sure Erica will connect us in the right ways. I sometimes get criticized by my Y people. Hey, we're supposed to be about membership, and when they say membership, they think gym membership, and the business of the YMCA. And what are you out there spending all this time talking in community? I was recently appointed by the mayor of Houston to be the chair of the Independent Police Oversight Board. And we had this debate internally, why would you do that? What? That's crazy.
Why would you not do that?
Exactly. I'm being called. Our organization is being invited to the table. Is there a bigger issue to resolve in terms of bringing community together than people's trust and confidence and faith in and the effectiveness of our policing systems? So it's been a year of actively involved in that. People ask me sometimes, how do you do this? It's like having a second job. I'm like, no, this is my job. This is my job. And we have great people doing the programs, and I engage with that. But absolutely happy to be part of those. In fact, inspired by those kinds of gatherings and discussions, because I know they always bear some fruit. So, thank you.
All right, that's it for now. That's all we have.
Andrew wants to.
Oh, real fast.
My answer is yes.
Oh, good. Churches and small businesses are often the first people that have contact with people from other countries, immigrants. One of our best kept secrets is our international services. Could you share that with these members?
Yes, very quickly. I'll call it an important division of what we do, but it's part of who we are. We have a part of our organization called International Services. We do refugee resettlement. We do work with people escaping human trafficking, as well as other social services, but mostly with asylum seekers and new Americans and immigrants. We actually have 14 attorneys on staff. We're doing work with unaccompanied minors. And to me, that's the core of engaging and welcoming people. It means a lot to us, very purposeful for us. So in the last iteration of Afghan allies, we were part of a coalition that settled 5,000 of them here in town. So we're very proud of that work. I think it's